Hello and welcome to the Ilene Silverman Show. I'm your host Ilene, and on this week's program, our guests discuss Horses Without Humans, rescue, training, adoption organization, and how this nonprofit is dedicated to moving at-risk horses to find forever homes. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us for our program. I'm so pleased to introduce my guest, Yvonne Bartow, founder, Horses Without Humans Rescue, Training, Adoption nonprofit organization. And Yvonne, it is wonderful to have you join us. That brief introduction doesn't really give you all the accolades you have earned in your life as renowned dressage trainer, as a performer, producer of equine performances, and as I said, yourself performing, and a writer of books, in the middle of writing more books, films and videos, and owner of Horses and founder of Horses Without Humans, located nearby in Belle, Florida, at your own Rock Bluff Ranch. And it's just wonderful to have you join us.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And let us know a little bit about how this all began for you. Explain Horses Without Humans as an organization, and what has inspired you so we can fully understand.
Well, horses have always inspired me. I'm a lifetime horse trainer. I knew I was going to be a horse trainer from when I was a kid, and I love horses. And I have trained a lot of horses to do a lot of different things. People know me best probably as a dressage, Grand Prix dressage rider, which is an Olympic level dressage rider and trainer, and an equine theater producer, and then yes, an author. But I've worked with race horses, I've worked with Western horses, I've worked with jumping horses and event horses and problem horses and theater horses. So I'm a horse person through and through.
Definitely.
And years ago, we started making a movie about how we train horses for equine theater performances. And in the research for that theater, even though I had been a trainer for decades,
right.
The information about unwanted horses in the United States and equine welfare in the United States at that time came to a very clear focus for me. And I was stunned that somebody in the business, as long as I'd been in the business, would not know that we had over 100,000 horses shipping to slaughter, and these horses had horrible end of life, and they're God's creatures, and a lot of the horses were past race horses, past performance horses, past family pets. And once I knew that, I couldn't unknow it, and I had to change my course a little bit.
It changed your passion, and now you've just embraced everything, as a matter of fact, because it's just enlarged your scope. But I didn't know these things, and yes, I found that startling, almost unbelievable.
It is.
When you think of the beauty of a horse,
yep.
to go to that end.
And they're sentient beings. I mean, a lot of people love dogs and cats and know dogs and cats and are familiar with dogs and cats. They don't understand. Like, I wrote a book on horse personalities because horses are very, very unique and very different, just like people or dogs are. If you have dogs, this one's not like that
family,
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Golden Retriever has a certain personality. The Jack Russell Terrier has a certain personality. Well, horses do as well. And the horse's innate temperament, their intelligence, and their energy level is what helps us assess and train them. And when they get misunderstood, that's how they can get in jeopardy. And then sometimes they end up in that pipeline that leads them to the wrong place.
But with Horses Without Humans, they have a sanctuary. And you are known, I think, countries over in the United States for the number of adoptions that have been successful and for the way that you embrace these horses, the rescue horses, train them, and both spiritually, medically, make them available for forever homes and change the course of their life.
Yes, and I think the training is a huge thing, the assessment and the training of the adoption horses. A lot of people have a good intention and they want to open up a rescue or a sanctuary, but they don't have staff that can train. We're a family of horse trainers.
Yes.
And we train people to be horse trainers. We have done so for 20 years. So people come to us to learn how to train. Well, now, along with training our for-profit horses, we have
Exactly.
the rescue and adopted horses that all get trained, high-quality training, which really helps them to find their forever person.
And we're almost out of time, but I know you have so many stories about the horses that have touched your life, and we are going to give you time to share some of that with us, but we're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about Horses Without Humans Rescue Organization with Yvonne Bartow, and I'm pleased to introduce Larry Schreiber, president of their board of directors. And Larry, it's wonderful to have you join us, and a busy guy, president, CEO of Santa Fe Healthcare, and just recently, and yet you've become a part of this wonderful nonprofit organization. So kind of tell us how this has all come to pass for you.
It's really the result of my wife's passion and involvement with horses. She had been training with Yvonne for a period of time before Yvonne even came down to the Gainesville area.
Okay.
And subsequent to Yvonne coming down here, excuse me, my wife was wanting to bring one of her horses down for winter training. And so she brought her horse down in January of 2018. I came down with her to get her set up, and we just saw what a wonderful facility this was. Our view of Horses Without Humans was a very limited view from when Yvonne was up in Illinois. But when she came down here, she had dedicated facilities, horses were coming on property, and I really saw the value of what she was doing.
Right.
And being a friend of Yvonne for a long period of time, I started to get involved from a business development perspective.
And that's a wonderful expertise that you can bring to the whole board of directors, which I'm beginning to see are located all over. I mean, you have an immense team of support that are not just in Bell, Florida. So tell us a little about that.
Well, I'll start with Rose Grant.
Okay.
Rose Grant has been a client of Yvonne's for decades. She has literally followed Yvonne followed her wherever she's gone. She's a controller for DeLine Holdings, which is owned by
Right.
Greg DeLine. She also runs his mortgage company. And so she got involved as well. She brought Greg into the mix, who actually leads our board, Greg DeLine. And
Wonderful.
Greg lends his expertise also as a small business owner, and quite frankly, a
Right.
large business owner as well.
And okay, now the link here is the love of horses, like your wife Wendy.
Yes.
And so everyone has been seeking out not the nonprofit Horses Without Humans, but all of the expertise that comes along with Yvonne and Rock Bluff Ranch, which is a wonderful setting. So with all of this, now things are the whole nonprofit is growing. And you're getting grants and recognition. Tell me about that.
There is so much information inside Yvonne's head and she does not have time to put it on paper.
I understand. There's all those books that she's authoring out.
As the operation started to get more horses in, we needed grant money to help sustain it. Not just that, but to build infrastructure to handle more horses.
Right.
So Yvonne and I have spent hours together with her just answering questions that I had from a very business-like perspective,
Right.
and that helped me to put together a robust business plan for the organization. Because quite frankly, the foundations, before they give you money, they want to understand that the money's
Yes.
going to be put to good use.
Exactly.
So that
You
formed
have
the
to prove that.
That formed the foundation for 2 large grants that really helped us sustain and now have helped us to grow. One from the Right Horse Initiative and another from the ASPCA.
And the Right Horse Initiative, that grant, $200,000, I believe, was saying that you were at rescuing about 20 horses a year, but this allows you 100. Mm-hmm. Incredible. And when you talk about the trainers and all that's necessary, my brain goes to all that it takes to take care of one horse, let alone all these many. How do you keep it all juggling
We don't do anything else.
Oh, that's it.
We just get up in the
Wait,
morning
and you
and
have
go to the
family.
barn.
First, there's your husband Kim involved,
Yeah.
right? Your daughters.
2 daughters and another trainer, and then apprentice trainers and working students. And so we hit it about 6:30 in the morning, and we're done when it's done.
Right.
And it's
You
7
just
days
keep
a week.
going. It
Yeah.
is your passion.
Yeah.
And the wonderful opportunity for adoptions, that I would think is something that really guides everybody, knowing that these horses will have, as you call it, another forever home.
Yeah, you know,
it
and
is-
a lot of that boils down to the process that Yvonne has in place. And I think in terms of business and process and efficiency. And we documented that in the business plan. And it starts with receiving the horse. That's step one in evaluating the horse. From there, the horse settles in. You evaluate them emotionally.
Right.
She moves into her training mode. But I think it's about a 4-month cycle from the time they come in to the time they're out for adoption, as opposed
That
to some
helps
other
to
rescues
understand it.
that don't have a sound process.
Right.
And these horses just sit because they're not adoptable. So
Right,
what
so
Yvonne's doing is,
nothing gets going. You
Right.
don't get to that goal.
and you know, the ultimate goal is to increase rescues exponentially by
Right.
having Yvonne's process and programs implemented at other rescues across the country.
I think that's outstanding, a well thought out goal that you will achieve. And we're going to take another quick break. Thank you, and thank you, Larry, for all the good information, the positive thoughts.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're back talking about Horses Without Humans Rescue Organization. And Yvonne, help us understand your passion for horses and where this all started for you. Take us back to those early years.
Well, I'm just enamored with horses, and I always have been. Probably all my best friends are horses. And I was a dog lover when I was a child, and I didn't know anything about horses. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, and I ran out of dog books at the library, and
Yeah.
I picked up a book, Walter Farley's Black Stallion, and I brought it home and I read it twice in 24 hours, and I was like, that's it.
Changed your life.
Yes, I'm going to be a horse trainer. And of course, I was a laughingstock. I was a joke. But from that moment on, I knew it. I knew it with unwavering certainty.
Despite what anybody said, like, that can't be a life plan.
Nobody could derail me. That's it. And it was nice to know, to be so certain.
Yes,
And
at
a lot of
young
kids
age.
don't have that.
So
And
that direction has guided your entire life.
Yes, it has. And so I've worked on the racetrack, and I've worked with problem horses, I've worked with jumpers, I've worked with eventers, I've worked with Western horses, barrel racers, the dinner theater. That was an interesting and fun. I was a director of entertainment at the Arabian Nights Dinner Theater.
Yes, I
and
was
the principal
fascinated
trainer.
about
Yeah.
that. And your favorite role, you said Alice in Wonderland, the costumes, the lights, the magic, the dance, the choreography. Share a little of that.
It's so fun to make horses come to life for other people. And our basic riding is dressage, which is like ballet or gymnastics or training for horses.
Right.
Very similar to gymnastics or ice skating. And when you put music and costume with the horses and then add dancers to it, it's theater-like, it's a spectacular. It's so
Yes.
beautiful. And people remember a theater show that they saw like for their whole life. And to be part of that and to be that child's memory, I was that child. I wanted that memory. So
You could do that for
Yes,
others.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know you've participated in so many championship and races and won numerous awards and working on your books. But then it all comes back to that horse, the horses you have loved. So share about your horse, Ray.
Ray. Well, Ray is the most winning horse, at least to date. He's the most winning horse in United States dressage history right now. And I met him when he was 7 years old, which is a little bit older to be starting dressage. And he was such a crazy athlete with cat-like balance and beautiful, Brad Pitt beautiful. And I fell in love with him.
How you say that.
I was just so in love with him, and I
Right.
had to have him in my life, and I had to ride him, and I had to train him. And so a lady bought him with the idea maybe we would sell her, maybe we would train him along, but he just did so well. And he was Horse of the Year as a 7-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and he just kept winning. He went to the
Remarkable.
World Cup. An amazing horse.
Yes.
Just amazing. And he did theater performances with me, and He's now retired out at Rock Bluff Ranch, and so he'd be something you would just go to see just to see
him.
Brad Pitt. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Ray.
I understand. And what about others that have touched you?
Well, I would say that another stallion that I trained at Grand Prix, and that I was actually longlisted for the Olympic team on Liberty, and he was part of the reason we started the rescue. I got a call on a Sunday afternoon years after that horse was retired and finished with his work, and I thought he was safely on a farm, and I got a call that he was going to be shipping to slaughter. And I had to go get him.
Chilled your heart.
It did.
Yes.
We went and fetched him, and we fetched another horse that we had trained, and they stayed with us, and Liberty's here as well. And so we have 2 aging seniors that are celebrities in their own right, and then we have many other rescues that are there ready to get a lease on life. And, I'm responsible for retiring the horses that I'm responsible for, and if everybody took that attitude, we wouldn't have to
It
need
would
to
be
rescue.
better.
It'd
Yes,
be better.
yes.
Yeah.
And as members of the community, is it something we could arrange to go out to visit the horses, to see?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes.
what you're all about. That's
Come
an
and visit.
opportunity.
Come and volunteer. Come and help. Yeah,
Okay.
do things.
Come
and
to
meet
that
the horses.
website we're sharing with everyone, and that will help direct us.
Yep.
Okay, and we're going to take another quick break, but I do want to say you've produced films, In the Spotlight 2. And you have this enormous body of work, several books, and you said you're working on several more.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm busy.
Yes, you are. Okay, we're going to take that quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. We're discussing Horses Without Humans Rescue Organization. And Larry, Yvonne, okay, Larry, talk to me about horses. I know they came into your life through your wife, Wendy, but now they're taking over a large part of your life.
They have. Previously, my wife has always been passionate about horses, much like Yvonne. And to me, horses were an expense line on the family budget. But with my wife's desire to do winter training down here at Rock Bluff
Right.
Ranch with Yvonne and team, it turned into much more than that. What was winter training turned into semi-permanent residency. We actually bought a house nearby the ranch, which got me more involved in what was going on. And I absolutely became passionate about horses. I'm a beginning rider.
Congratulations.
So, I do a bit of riding. I'm nowhere near my wife or Yvonne's caliber.
But they're
Horses
coaching
are
you
just
along.
very special creatures. And anything that I can do for horses, whether it's financially or whether it's through
Right.
helping Yvonne and the business, I'm going to do it.
Right, you're devoting a lot of time and energy. And so how does the community fit in? What can we do to
Sure.
support?
So Yvonne already
The
mentioned that there's
organization,
always
yeah.
volunteer opportunities.
Okay, right on.
We did receive some grants from 2 very generous organizations,
Right.
but that money really went into infrastructure, to really build the infrastructure.
Okay.
As I
But-
know from my own family budget, horses are not cheap.
Yeah, I was going to say,
maintain.
what about every day, all these horses feeding,
Hay,
grooming, training?
feed, farriers, veterinarian services.
Oh,
So
yeah.
anyone
Gosh.
that can, I would truly encourage them to go to Horses Without Humans, the website, and click the donate button. Whatever you can give is
Will
welcome.
make a difference. Yes, yes. And then, as you were saying, Yvonne, you can come out, you welcome people to really see for themselves what is going on, and other ways that people would be able to volunteer through time. And then, what about special opportunities? Maybe a holiday show you were saying might be coming up?
We have already an established great holiday show that has not been down here in Florida. It's called The Spirit of the Horse, and it's a holiday family magical tale, orphans, a snow queen, villain,
Oh, I like this.
angels. It is a great show, and the costuming, the music is beautiful. We're hoping to have it at Canterbury this year,
All
and
right,
to
excellent.
be able to have it as a fundraiser for Horses Without Humans, and also bring people out to see horses when they look their most magical.
Oh, yes. I look forward to that,
It'll be fun.
definitely. I've seen some of the images on the films you've put together that are I will be there, definitely.
That would be great.
And thank you. Tell us more about the adoptable horses.
Oh, well, we have 42
You have so many.
right now, and we all different breeds, all different stages they come in, and we assess them, their personalities are different, what they come in as far as like what their physical limitations are. But I will say quickly, we got a call about over 50 Paso Finos that had been seized in Lake Butler, and I was called in to evaluate the temperaments of the horses from the ASPCA, and we ended up taking 7 of those horses back to Rock Bluff Ranch. They were some emaciated, they were all in poor physical shape. None of them were started or handled or broke to ride. And here we are less than 6 months later, and we have these horses now playing soccer in a field with riders on them, and the soccer balls are half their size. And they're so cute, and they're good trail riding horses. They're great fun to be around, and they are really ready for adoption now.
Oh, that is excellent, and I remember that story and that you came through. But now that I understand more about the organization, Horses Without Humans, and all that you're really doing, I can think back to that and really understand all that's going into rescuing these wonderful horses. And when you talked about loving dogs and all different opportunities that people have to bond with an animal, but in your writings and what I've discovered is it is unique. The communication, the relationship between a person and their horse, like none other. And you certainly can expand on that.
All my best friends are horses. Just are. And they're magical. They're magical creatures. And there's just something, I don't like myself when I'm not around horses. So if I'm going to be likable and livable with, then I have to have horses around me. So I've done that.
Well said. And thank you, Larry, and all the board of directors, everyone involved in Horses Without Humans. And Yvonne, thank you for producing the magic for all of us, and your determination and dedication to pursue Horses Without Humans Rescue Organization.
Well, thank you for having us on the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Ellie.
Thank you. And I'm so glad that you tuned in, and I hope you'll join us next week. Take care.